Welcome back to Wholesaling Around the World, the Ohio edition. Now, Ohio is one of my most favorite states to wholesale in. It's third most highest volume for titanium investments. And it's funny because originally when we started expanding virtually, Ohio was probably in the top 10 states we identified that we wanted to expand to. But early on, I despised Ohio. I despised it because it felt like everything was a small assignment fee. The properties were somewhat difficult to underwrite, especially in comparison to our home state, Texas. But over the course of time, I've learned that the value of Ohio is in the different cities that you can wholesale in, where other states they lack that opportunity, right? Like if you look at Indiana, for example, the big major metro is Indianapolis. Now it has other smaller cities like Fort Wayne, Evansville, things like that you can wholesale in fairly decently. But Ohio, with it having Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Toledo, Akron, these are all great areas to wholesale in and areas that we've done volume in. And so it just gives us so much opportunity there. And then the price point is great, right? The price point works for both flippers or landlords, and that is an ideal wholesale market, what you're always looking for. Now, Ohio is the seventh most populated state with 11.9 million people. So it's not too entirely surprising that it would be one of the better states to wholesale in because just of the population. But when you really break down looking on the map and just our personal volume, the two locations that we've done the most volume in is Cleveland and then the Cincinnati and Dayton metro areas. Now, I kind of combine those because we've done deals in Middleton or Middletown. I don't know how you say that really. Hamilton, Mason, Fairfield, all of that in between the Dayton and the Cincinnati markets. So even though it's further spread apart, Cincinnati and Dayton kind of remind me of like the Ohio version of Dallas Fort Worth. Like they're close enough where they kind of mingle together where there's some buyers that will buy in both Cincinnati and Dayton. And that's the other thing about Ohio that's just great is the fact that in all of these locations, there's plenty of buyers throughout. Now, the largest city, Columbus, is not where we do a lot of volume. When I say largest, I guess Cleveland could also be right up there. I actually don't know which one's larger. I've been to both. But Columbus is the one that we've done the least amount of volume in. I think it's because it's probably just a little bit more competitive there. Also, I just have seen less leads, especially on the PPL side, come across in the Columbus market. Any deal that we have gotten in Columbus has been a pretty decent one, but that's just the area that we've done the least amount of deals. Now, in regards to those larger cities to wholesale in, the two that are probably the most difficult are Toledo and Akron. Now, Toledo, it's because the price points are just so low in certain neighborhoods that a lot of times if the property is any physical distress element to it, it just doesn't have enough money in it to be profitable. And so there's times where a deal can almost not be wholesaled because there's just not a buyer out there. That does happen in Toledo and not as common in Akron, but Akron is also a little bit more difficult to dispo in than say a Cleveland or a Cincinnati. I've actually owned a duplex in Akron for quite some time. It was profitable. The cash flow is good. The cash flow is good in almost all of these markets across Ohio. But the thing that has really made me fall in love with Ohio is that throughout the entire state, when we run nationwide PPL, whether it's property lead, speed lead, or lead Zolo, we get leads in what people consider rural locations. Inside of the state of Ohio, no matter how rural it really is, we can still find buyers. And that is very unique to Ohio in comparison to some of the other Midwest or Sunbelt states that are comparable, right? Like if you take a Missouri or a Kansas, there are times where you can be so rural that there's not a buyer, specifically in Kansas. Ohio, it might take us a little bit longer to do the dispositions and locate that buyer, but we are able to move or at least locate in buyers in almost all of the locations throughout the state of Ohio. That is the main reason why I've really fallen in love with the state of Ohio. Because as a nationwide investor, I want the cheapest leads coming in, right? I want the $30 property leads. I want the $29 speed of lead. And that's where we're going to get deals in, Portsmouth or Athens or what is this, Zanesville, right? Cambridge, Senecaville. These are places that we've done deals. Martins Ferry, right on the border there. Wellsburg is another location. These are not places when you think of the state of Ohio that you're going to think like, yeah, I'm going to buy a lead there because I know an in buyer. But leveraging the technology that exists nowadays has allowed us to be able to wholesale in all of these different locations. Now, one of the negative things about Ohio is that it does look like there are going to be more and more regulations coming down the pipeline. As of June 5th, 2025, so just a couple of months ago, the Ohio Senate passed Senate Bill 155, sponsored by Senators Andrew Brenner and Catherine Ingram, to require real estate wholesalers to make certain disclosures to property owners before entering into a contract that conveys an interest in residential real property. And what they went on to say was, real estate wholesaling targets some of Ohio's most vulnerable homeowners through predatory contracts, misleading sales tactics, and clouding titles to properties. This legislation increases the transparency surrounding the wholesaling process by requiring wholesalers to disclose to the homeowner and end buyer their true intentions. This bill provides assurance to homeowners that they will be making a fully informed decision when they enter into a contract to sell their property. Now, the reason why this is unfortunate is the fact that our government is having to step in and say this about our industry because of our own actions. And quite frankly, when you read the quote there, predatory contracts, misleading sales tactics, clouding titles to properties. These are the things that I have been speaking out against for years now. Why do we have to lie and deceive and manipulate sellers? If you are following people right now in our industry that are teaching you to do this, your time is limited. You're following the wrong people. This is why I have disassociated myself with these people inside of our industry. If you want to do this bullshit, then you are the reason why our industry is being attacked. And one of the best states in the entire United States of America is now coming out and saying, we are having to mandate a regulation where you have to tell the truth to the homeowner and to the end buyer what your true intentions are. It's pathetic that our government felt it necessary to step in because leaders in our industry have continued to tell you to lie and deceive and manipulate. If your business foundation is built on that, then your time is limited. And it's unfortunate that you even thought that that was necessary, because it has never been necessary to lie, deceive, and manipulate. So if you're doing the fake underwriter, if you're doing the fake finance department, if you're always filing memorandums on properties, if you're deceiving and manipulating and doing that, stop. You don't have to follow these people. Majority of the people that come in and they do this, their time is limited anyways. It's why they come and they go. They're fly-by-night wholesalers because they never actually truly built a sustainable business, because everything that they did was built on a lie. So it's unfortunate that this is happening, but it is necessary because we need to rid our industry of the people that believe this is what we need to do. So overall, I love Ohio. I have no problem with this regulation because I have no problem disclosing to a homeowner and an end buyer my true intentions. So we will continue to do high volume in the great state of Ohio. And I just wish that before every state in America has to come out with this type of regulation, we as an industry fix it and police it ourselves. If you're following someone or you're learning from someone that tells you to do this, ask them, why do you think the senators in Ohio are saying that we are misleading sales tactics, predatory contracts, clouding title to properties? Why do you think they're attacking our industry? And see what your leader actually says. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Show me some love. Let's go do some deals in Ohio. See you guys tomorrow.